Okay, this video starts with the third page, and we're continuing with chapter 5.3 here. Now we're talking about, we're starting on chapter 5.3 here, and this is about slope-intercept when they don't give you the slope and they don't give you the intercept. All they give you are 2 points. So how do you figure out how to plug things in for slope-intercept if they don't give you either one? Well, 2 points are enough for you to figure out what the slope is. Remember, the slope is the change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to do 3 minus 8, or in this case I did 8 minus 3. It doesn't matter which direction you go in as long as both the x and the y change in the same direction. So I'm changing the y from this one to this one, 8 minus 3. So I've got to change the x from 0 to minus minus 1. 0 minus minus 1 is 0 plus 1. 8 minus 3 is 5, so I've got 5 over positive 1. Good, now I've got half my battle done. I've got the slope. Slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. Right? So I'm going to plug in either of these 2 points. I happen to pick the 0, 8. I put 8 in for y. Instead of y equals mx plus b, I say 8 equals this slope, 5 times 0, that's the x that goes with it, 5 times 0 plus b. Well, 5 times 0 is 0. So what this is saying is that, close please, 0 plus b, or in other words, 8 equals b. Well, there's my b, my y-intercept, and my slope. That's all I needed. I put them together, y equals 5x plus 8. That's my answer to this first question at the top of page 3. Next question. This time, they've given me a picture with 2 points. Other than that, it's exactly the same story as the last one. This one didn't give me a picture. This time I do have a picture. Once again, just like the previous question, the previous slide, I'm going to start by figuring out the slope. My rise is 4. My run is 1. So my slope's 4 over 1. Now I need to figure out the y-intercept, so I'm going to plug in one of the points. I picked this one, and I plug in 2 for y, negative 3 for x. 2 equals 4 times negative 3 plus b. That means 2 equals negative 12 plus b. I move the 12 over, and b is going to turn out to be 14. Now I've got the 2 pieces I needed, slope and y-intercept. Put them together, y equals 4x plus 14. We'll move on to the next one. By the way, remember, you can always pause a video anytime you want. If you didn't understand it, you can even rewind. But I'm going to move on to the next question, which is at the top of the 4th page. And actually, I'm just going to show you the answers this time, because both of these questions are exactly like the very first question from the first video. So if you go back to page 1, in other words, the first video and the first question, what I explained to you there, you should apply here to these 2 questions, and you should be able to do these 2 questions yourself and see why this answer is the right one for number 1 and this answer is the right one for number 2. Likewise, these 2 questions, 3 and 4, are just like question 2 on page 1. So go back to the video again if you need to and see how you do these. I'm just going to quickly remind you that my y-intercept from this picture is right there. That's 4. There's the 4. My y-intercept for this graph is right there. That's negative 1. And there's my b of negative 1. You should be able to calculate off the slope and figure out why I said negative 1/4 here and 3 there. Moving on to the next one. This is another very similar problem to one I've already solved in a previous video. The bottom of the first page video had a question about a babysitter who charged based on how many pets were in the house. Well, once again, whenever you have a word problem, I'll quickly talk through this. What you're looking for is a starting point. Well, the baby cow is born at a starting point of 57 pounds. So that's the 57, that's my y-intercept. The rate of change, spelled out right there, 2 per day. So you can just call it, if you want, just like y equals mx plus b, y equals 2x plus 57. If it helps you more to see words to understand what this 2x plus 57 means, then you can think of it this way. The cow's weight is going to be equal to 2 pounds. I rewrote this because I knew it was kind of hard to read my writing. 2 pounds times the number of days plus 57 pounds. So if it's been 10 days, then 2 times 10 is 20, plus 57 is 77. That's how many pounds the cow will weigh after 10 days, 77 pounds. Let's move on. Top of the next page now. Graph the line based on the equation. They give you y equals 2x minus 4. And I know that you've done some of these. Actually, no, I'm not sure that's right. I don't think you've done drawing of a graph. You've done reading of a graph in one of these videos. Drawing of a graph. So I've got to plot two things. My y-intercept at -4, and that's what this is going to show here. I'll move this over. There it is at -4. My slope is my rise over run. They tell me my slope is 2. So from this point, I went up 2 and over 1. I don't know why that says 2 there, but I actually went up 2 and over 1. And just for good measure, I did it again, up 2 and over 1. And then I drew my line through the 3 points. That's a very easy way to graph based on an equation. So same story here. I start by plotting 5. Let's just get this out of the way now. I plot the point 5 as my y-intercept. This time it's -3/2 for the slope, so I go down 3 over 2, make a dot, and I draw a line through those 2 dots. That's my graph. It's as simple as that. Moving on to the next one, or next 2, I should say. Both of these are a lot like questions that I've already explained to you from page 2 of the video. This is still the first video. Remember, the first video was pages 1 and 2. Question number 6, but I'll walk through at least, well, you know what, I'll walk through number 9. I think I explained it a little better for number 9 here. They've given me the slope, they've given me a point. I plug in the slope, y equals -4, x plus b. By the way, I could have done this as point slope, since it didn't tell me which way, but I chose slope intercept. Then I plug in -2 for y, 3 for x. So I've got -2 equals -4 times 3 plus b. Those two things multiply to make -12. I've got b here. I want to know what b is, so I move 12 over. I end up discovering that b equals 10, and my equation right here is y equals -4x plus 10. Hopefully that's enough explanation for you to see why this is the right answer for number 8. Moving on. Last 2 before we stop the video and pick up with a third video. These last 2 questions, you know what, let me cover some of this up so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm supposed to write an equation that goes through these 2 points. So I've got to figure out slope, and slope, change in y over change in x, 4 minus -2 on the top, and 4 minus -4 on the bottom. That's 4 plus 2 over 4 plus 4. In other words, 6 over 8. 6 over 8 is, you might be easier to think of it as 3 over 4. That's my slope. I put it in, y equals 3/4 x plus b. Now I can plug in either point. I think, if I remember right, I picked 4, 4. Yep, sure enough I did. I've got 4 equals 3 over 4 times 4 plus b. Solve for b. I'm going to figure out pretty quickly that b is going to turn out to be 1. Now I've got my slope. I've got my y-intercept. I put them together, and that's my equation, y equals 3/4 x plus 1. Based on what I just did here for number 10 and ones I've done in previous videos, you should be able to see why y equals 2/5 x minus 2 is the equation for the line that goes through these 2 points. And that's where I'm going to pause the video, and we'll have one more after this.